Welcome back to the Cutaway scene where the conversation stays uncut, unfiltered, and a little too real. Listen, this week we are talking something that comes up a lot, okay? Boundaries, okay? Because not all distance is intentional and not all space is meant to push people away. I just feel like sometimes people aren't trying to shut you out necessarily. It's more of like they feel like they need to protect themselves. I mean, half of the time it's really not that deep. Sometimes people just want to tend to self, and hey, I'll see you. I'll see you next time. You know. But before we get into it, hey, shout out to everyone who voted this week. Okay, y'all are lit, we are time. So this poll question was, what ruins relationship faster? Outside influences or personal fears? So the results came in. 67% said outside influences, while 33% said personal fears. Okay, so okay, some of you guys were saying outside influences. Okay, that's what opinions, what friends in your ear, family pressure. Hey, half of the time, social media. Okay, sometimes people really be getting mad over some likes. I don't know. Hey, but to each his own. This is a judge-free zone. Okay, but I feel like that is. I feel like that's just noise that doesn't belong in the relationship. Okay, so then we had others that said personal fears. Okay, that is what fears of being vulnerable, what fears of confrontation, of I don't know, fear of getting hurt again. That I feel like that is like one of the main things. Okay, and honestly, both can ruin something if you don't check it. Okay, because relationships doesn't usually end from a big moment. They end from a lot of small things piling up. That's that saying, sweeping things under the rug. Okay, that's that unspoken feeling, that unaddressed fears, outside voices getting louder than the people actually involved. We don't really talk about this, but let's get into the hot takes. So for Hot Take Wednesday, we asked, what shapes people's behavior the most? Okay. So some people were saying fear. Okay, I feel like that's fear of what? Rejection, fear of change, fear of being honest. Okay. Then others were pointing out that it's straight to outside influence. Okay, it's what people think, what they are told, what they feel pressured to do. Okay, half of the time, people, I'm not gonna go there because I do be seeing people be acting different in front of their friends. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's a little immature because it's like you a grown person, man or woman, okay? It doesn't have to be, just to the males or, I'm speaking to women too. It's just a switch up when it comes, hey, to each his own, okay? To each his own. But I feel like what did stood out the most to me was that a lot of these answers weren't about intentions. They were more about reaction. And people don't always move based on what they want. Okay? They move based on what they are scared of or what they are surrounded by. Like I was saying, they be acting different. Hey, it's like, why are you being weird to me? And it's like, sometimes that's how boundaries get misunderstood, okay? You have one person over here saying they see it as self-protection, right? But then you have another person feeling, okay, that's distance. It's like, I'm not saying they're both wrong or they're both right. It's like, it's one of those, like, it's a big misunderstanding. Like, y'all both are right in your own way. Let's get into some hypotheticals. So, what if the relationship was fine, okay, until everyone had an opinion? Friends pointing out red flags, family saying, I wouldn't accept that if I were you. I wouldn't accept that if I were you. People comparing your relationship to others, well, to theirs, right? At what point does listening to outside voices turn into letting them drive your decisions? That's kind of like how I was saying earlier. Like, we are our own person. Like, you your own person, I'm my own person. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, my hot take on that is listen, I'm dating you, not your mama, not your daddy, your whoever, okay? And it's like, yes, advice is cool, but let's not keep taking wealth advice from someone that has never even seen wealth a day in their life. I'm just giving an example there, right? Okay? And I feel like this is your life, like this is mine. You have free will just like the next person. And it's like, why are we going off of what they would have done if they were you? Let's get into hypothetical scenario number 2. What if the relationship didn't fall apart because of conflict, okay? But because someone got scared when it stopped being surface level. I'm talking about scared of commitment, scared of being accountable, scared of having to show up consistently, okay? No big argument, no clear ending, just distance that slowly grew because fear was easier than honesty, okay? At what point does personal fear start doing the damage? I can say this. I think it's not fair for the next person. Sometimes I feel like situations like this, it makes the other person that's on the receiving end of all of this end up with personal fears too. Almost like hurt people. You bleed onto others. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm not saying everyone is healed. No, everybody is not fully healed. No. But you cannot expect people to tolerate things, you wouldn't tolerate, okay? And I feel like I've had moments where I thought I was doing the right thing by pulling back, okay? I told myself, hey, I'm protecting my peace. I had the picket fence. What is that thing? The strike thing? Yes, I am protecting my peace. I'm not playing. But looking back, some of those moments were driven by fear, okay? Fear of hard conversations, fear of being misunderstood, fear of conflict, because sometimes it's really not that big of a deal. Like, sometimes I just want to just go home and just chill and watch Is It Cake? Something, and I'm literally just chilling, just eating pretzels and watching Netflix. I'm not trying to go that far because I feel like, okay, well, that's another story, okay? But I feel like that's the part that people doesn't like to admit, okay? Boundaries are important, but they're supposed to protect you, not isolate you, okay? Outside influences, oh yeah, absolutely, that can just be as dangerous because I feel like once other people's opinions start shaping your decisions, you lose clarity on what you actually want, okay? I feel like the minute you start living life for you, that is when your life truly starts to begin, okay? But anyway, that was this week's episode. Boundaries are brick walls, okay? Not every ending is loud, okay? Most of them start quietly, okay? Thank you again for everyone who voted, commented, sent in their hot politics this week. Next week, okay, we are stepping into accountability season, okay, when protecting your peace starts requiring honesty. All right, and y'all already know that's a wrap. And this is the Cutaway scene. Bye.